Thanks for your question. You've said that you are recently engaged and you want to know whether you and your partner are sexually compatible. Now, this is a question which, before I answer this question, I would like to mention one thing, that you cannot find out your sexual compatibility theoretically. Of course, there are questionnaires which you can share with your partner, but those would not be very reliable, because what you say in theory and what you do in practice would be entirely two different things. So unless and until you don't make love with your partner, there is really no other way in which you can find out whether you are sexually compatible with your partner or not. Now, what are the areas you need to look at when you are talking about sexual compatibility with your partner? So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, are your sexual drives equal? What I mean by sexual drives is, how frequently do you want to have sex, or how frequently does your partner want to have sex? So if there is a parity in the frequency, it means there is equality in sexual drive. The second thing which you need to do is, like, are you open to the whole idea of receiving or performing anal sex, right? Now, if these things go well with you, if your partner insists on performing anal sex and you are willing to receive it, then probably you have, in the sense, like, compatibility in that particular area. The third thing which you can check for when you talk about sexual compatibility is the whole idea of indulging into a role play. Are you open to do a role play with your partner? Dress up probably like a nurse and he dresses up like a doctor, and then you do some kind of tricks in the bedroom. So this is something, if you are fine with the whole idea, if your partner is fine with the whole idea, then probably you have sexual compatibility. Another area which you can talk about is performing or receiving oral sex. How comfortable are you in receiving or performing oral sex? If you are comfortable with these things, then you have more sexual compatibility. What else can you check? Well, you can also check, like, how comfortable are you or your partner in talking dirty. By talking dirty, I mean you use some kind of slang words which are very, very sexually arousing for you and your partner, and how comfortable are you to hear them and also to use them during your love making. Another thing which you can probably do when you are trying to check your sexual compatibility is trying to find out how good your orgasms are. Are they realistic? Are they healthy? Are you able to receive sexual pleasure after getting a proper orgasm? Well, if you are getting proper orgasms and you are becoming, you are realistic about the whole thing, well, then you have sexual compatibility. What else? Well, we can also say that when we talk about sexual compatibility, one thing we need to also understand is that, can you talk about sex openly? That is probably one of the most important things which you need to understand, that can you talk about sex openly with your partner? If you cannot talk about sex openly, your needs will not be met, neither the needs of your partner. So if you are very comfortable on those lines, probably the lines of sexual communication are already open, and other areas of sexual compatibility which I just mentioned earlier would be much, much easier for you to follow. Now, having said that, I also like to add there's something called sexual positions. Now, which sexual position are you comfortable with? Which sexual position is your partner comfortable with? Now, this is something which you cannot theoretically find out. Once you are in the process of love making, you would be trying out certain sexual positions and see which is comfortable for you, see which is comfortable for your partner, and then probably come to some kind of conclusion that, well, this is a position which is mutually suitable to both of us. So I would say that probably the best thing you can do about trying to create sexual compatibility is opening the lines of sexual communication, and the rest would follow.